The need for porn. Welcome back to another episode of Porn Brain Rewired, the podcast with me, Dr. Trish Leigh. I'm glad you're here today because we're going to break down the concept of need, whether that be a healthy need or an unhealthy need. Once we do that, we're going to move on to how you're getting your needs met through your behaviors. Healthy ones, not so healthy ones. That's number one for today. Number two is, what do needs look like in your brain performance pattern? Then we'll move to number three, your brain hack strategy for the day, so that you can take these concepts and actually implement them in your life so you can leave porn behind, get on purpose, and get back to squeezing all the joy out of your work, your people, and your hobbies. Okay, so let's dig in. Let's talk about needs. We all have needs. We have a wide variety of needs. Some of them are healthy, some of them are unhealthy. That's the first thing that I want you to recognize. Not every need that you have is actually good for you. So start questioning some of those needs and putting them into one of these two categories. A healthy need is something that ultimately is beneficial to your well-being, and it's moving you forward in what I consider to be, evolution towards the authentic self that's in there. You're growing, you're learning, you're becoming better. Those needs are amazing because they keep forging you ahead and taking you through the seasons of life. They keep shifting you. And I'll share an example from my own life in just a second. Maybe a broken record example, but an example all the same. So then there's unhealthy needs. And an unhealthy need is a way of soothing yourself or making yourself feel better in a moment, but it's not furthering you in this journey of authentic development. It's more of an escapism need. So they exist on all different levels. There's needs for control, there's needs to self-soothe. I want you to start categorizing some of those needs as you start recognizing them in your life. And specifically, we're going to talk about porn use and what might be the underlying need for you going back to porn. That's on top of, we know through science, there's a dopamine dependency. Once you've established a porn habit, your brain has changed and the levels of dopamine that you need to feel good and to not feel bad have changed. So ultimately, underneath these needs is a neurological dysfunction. And we'll talk about that in number two. But there's also psychological needs that are drivers when it comes to porn consumption. So after working with thousands of clients, I know that the need for validation, for an increase in self-esteem, and for the desire for intimacy that's being met in a distorted way are all fundamental psychological needs for people who get pulled back into porn. And so the idea is, it's fantasy, it's an unreality. It makes you feel better about yourself while giving you this high from those high levels of dopamine. So for whatever behavior you have going on and whatever way it's manifesting itself, pause for a moment, get out your journal, get out your pen, and think about, underneath it all, besides feeling great, theoretically, besides the rush and the high in your brain, besides escaping my reality into unreality, what need am I getting met? And I know once I start working with my clients, they can start recognizing what this need is that maybe they couldn't recognize earlier because self-awareness was low. So try to figure that out for yourself, but just recognize many people need a professional to help them see these needs also. So unhealthy need, healthy need. So for example, the need to feel validated is a healthy need, but the need for a lot of external validation, that's an unhealthy need. As you grow emotionally, you should be able to validate yourself internally from your purpose, from the way you're moving through the world. And again, it goes back to authentic living really does mean an increase in integrity and an increase in how you feel about yourself. When you're on purpose, you feel great. When you're off purpose and you're self-soothing and self-stimulating, you feel less than great about yourself. But the need for validation is healthy. A significant need for external validation, not so much. So think about those needs underneath your porn habit. Now let's go to behaviors. Obviously, consuming porn is one of the behaviors we're talking about, but for the sake of generalities, let's think about all behaviors in terms of we have some behaviors that are healthy and others that are unhealthy at the core. So, consuming porn, very unhealthy. We know it damages your brain. We're going to talk about it in just a minute. We know excessive alcohol use, we know drug use. We know driving really fast can be an unhealthy behavior that gives people an adrenaline rush. So think about all the behaviors you have going and think about what needs they are serving. You'll find it really, really interesting. It'll start exposing the programming from the past and the way you navigate through the world to yourself, which that is a crucial part of my 90-day digital program where I teach people to explore their programming so that they can dismantle and get a software update to have new programming to move through the world. So start questioning your behaviors and the whys underneath. Okay, so let's put a bow on that. There's needs, healthy and unhealthy. Then there's ways of meeting those needs, healthy or unhealthy. And the broken record example from my life is, I'm trying to create more space for downtime and relaxation, totally healthy need because I live a very busy lifestyle. I'm also trying to keep connection to my people, my besties, because that's very healthy for me. And what I know about myself is I can be very, very independent. I can move through my days with little bits of connection. I don't need tons of validation from outside. There's lots of people in my life, which is probably why solitude feels good to me. But here's the story is that I've been spending less time with my friends because I don't want to go out late at night and I don't want to drink. I don't want to eat. I want to be nestled in my bed chilling by 9 p.m., if you know what I mean. Yep, seasons of life, my friends. So on Saturday, my bestie sends out on the bestie text thread, come over for a hang. This was 8:30 p.m. I was already showered. I was getting ready to get in 0G in my bed. And I'm like, all right, because I haven't seen them in a little while. So I text coming in my PJs, which encouraged another one of our friends to show up in her PJs. And I'm thinking in my mind, it's going to be chill pajama party, which is what I'm signing up for these days. I get there, my friends had been hanging out for hours. It was not a chill pajama party. It involved a lot of music, a lot of dancing, darts, and I was there for hours. So, of course, the next morning on Sunday, I'm tired. And I actually didn't drink that much. It was just a matter of I drank more than I've been drinking, which is none. And I've been going to bed early. And so I stayed up late and, I did not feel as good as I've been feeling because I went back to fulfilling a healthy need in an unhealthy way by going out after 9 p.m. Yes, I'm aware when I was younger, I'd go out at 1 p.m. or 1 a.m. That's when it would start, but seasons of life. So, healthy need, but being met in an unhealthy way. So the way that need's going to be met in the future, and it's, this is a journey. We're learning through every single opportunity that comes at us. So that was really powerful for me because I really haven't been doing it. And I did it and it would have felt good in the past. On Sunday, I would have been like, oh, that was so much fun. But on Sunday, I'm like, I'm not feeling this anymore. I don't need to do this. It's the need for connection can be met in a different way. So this is just one example. So let's move to what do needs look like in your EEG brain pattern? Healthy needs look like the green optimal brain pattern, the green zone, meaning that all of your brain speeds are working flawlessly like an automatic transmission, and you're able to shift in and out of all the gears very smoothly. And what that looks like is after a day of focus and working, you've kind of ramped the energy up in your brain. Now you want to go bring that energy down in a healthy way by hanging out. So that is all part of circadian rhythms, healthy needs being met in healthy ways. When there's unhealthy needs and there's unhealthy behaviors, and especially when it comes to porn consumption, what happens is your brain gets stuck in the extremes. Your brain is stuck in excessive fast mode and excessive slow mode, what I call strained brain, wired and tired. When your brain is wired and tired, it inherently feels like it needs to be calmed down or soothed. It inherently feels like it needs to be stimulated. Dysfunctional brain pattern equals less than functional behaviors with possibly unhealthy but possibly healthy needs. So we already said a driving force into the screen could be stress. And so stress reduction is a healthy need, but it's being met by an unhealthy behavior. A healthier behavior for stress reduction is to go have a pajama party with your besties. So go have some fun, get some appropriate healthy levels of dopamine from your real life. So the unhealthy needs have a dysfunctional brain pattern at their core. And the reason being is if you're using the wired and tired brain pattern, your brain needs something to soothe it and stimulate it and to artificially shift it into neutral, which can lead to drain brain. Drain brain is you've been giving your brain so much dopamine from the screen that now you don't even know internally, your brain is not able to regulate itself. You don't know how to calm yourself down because you've been using something to calm yourself down for so long. This is why so many people are dependent upon porn to be able to fall asleep, because they artificially shift their brain into neutral for a time. But it's very unhealthy. You can get stuck there, drain brain. It's what leads to erectile dysfunction. So healthy need being met in a very unhealthy way. And if you have very high levels of stress, which porn contributes to stress in the brain, now you have an unhealthy need, which is excessive stress in the brain, which needs excessive soothing. All right, so we can see that dysfunction in your brain. And if you're interested in seeing how there's dysfunction in your brain, please reach out. drtrishleigh.com, you'll see the tab that says work directly with Dr. Trish Leigh. QEEG brain map is the first step. Okay, now let's go to number 3, your brain hack strategy for the day. So the brain hack is figure out what the need is that's at the core of your porn use. And if it's unhealthy, it needs to be shifted to a healthy need. If it's healthy, you have to find ways to meet that need in the world. You have to get it met through behaviors that are serving you and are moving you forward in the evolution of your spirit towards the authentic version of your capital S self. That is what I want for you. So it requires behavioral change. So remember, we said there's brain dysfunction at the core. Brain dysfunction can be rewired by your mind and your body, but it's tricky. The easiest way to do it is to train your brain with technology, something that I can teach you in Brain Training 101. I'll make sure we put the link down below. I can teach you in my Brain Training Club. And so what happens there is you use technology to regulate your brain, which allows you to change the behaviors of your mind and your body with greater ease. That is something that I would love for you. So figure out what those needs are and figure out how you can shift your behaviors, because it'll be a beautiful start for you. Okay, I hope that helps you out. Until next time, control your brain or it'll control you.